everybody. Some say the West Coast is the best coast, but tonight the action is all about the Big East. The captain, Mike Collins, joins me to chop it up into our world famous tiers and break down this 5-bid league with a few golden geese and a few in formation trying to make their way to the front of the flock. Recording live from somewhere, this is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard at One and Done train. Welcome to One and Done. Bienvenidos a todos a One and Done, your fast break of college basketball información. We're powered by the galaxy's greatest website. That would be drroto.com. I'm your sometimes humble host. Every once in a while, my name, you ask? It's Jay Heinrich, and my title is the conductor of the aforementioned One and Done train. At Dr. William Cannon over on X, at One and Done CVB is where you can find the show page. Follow us there for our top 20 returning players countdown and more. But do yourself a favor and follow this man first. At MC Holland 34 over there on X, the OG Money Mike El Capitan around these parts. Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do, baby? Can't hear you, my friend. You got your stuff on there? We got Mike on mute. We're going to figure out those little audio things going on right there for Mike. But in the meantime, while Mike figures that out, I wanted to tell you guys about our free best ball league coming up. Mike, I think I got you. You in there?
Am I here? Am I live?
I got you. There you are. I'll write it. We'll do it live. Mike, let's do it again. Mike, it's Big East night. What it do, baby?
Oh, man, it's Big East night. What a great way to start the show. What I was trying to say for all the lip readers out there was we've only got 4 conferences left. So everyone go check out all the shows that we've done. I think when we do some math there, 31 minus 4, 27 other shows over the last couple of months. Appreciate everyone diving in. We have Cam in the live chat, Snake's Eyes. Riley's here for Big East time. And just like you were mentioning, my friend, we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna try out a old best ball league with some of the breadheads here, man. Up to 20 members, a 20-round draft, all 365 schools. A prize to the winner, which we'll give out some more details on probably the next show that we do. But we'd love for you guys to join. We'll drop the old link to join. I think we got 4 members in there already. So shout out to Cam, who's already dove in there, Corey, some of our regular breadheads up in there. But we'd love to see everyone in the chat. If I need to expand it, man, we can expand it to add 25, 30 teams. We'll see how this goes. So we'll drop the link in the chat here pretty shortly, and we'll go from there, my friend.
Yeah, I was looking today at the total number of college basketball players that you can choose from, and the number is actually 11 billion, fulfillion, and 1. That's how many players there are. The producers are telling me that that's our goal for our subs here on the One and Done channel for college basketball. So make sure that you push that button so you don't miss a minute of our college basketball coverage. Coming up, we got some more conference preview shows, closing out the power conferences, and then, of course, we're going to have our DFS shows during the season, news and notes. You're not going to want to miss any of that. So hit all those buttons, like, subscribe, notification bells. Johnny K was on time tonight, and so can you be.
Big East night. No wonder he's on time.
Big East night. Yeah, that's all right. Shout out to Johnny K for being here, and shout out to you for being here as well. With 1,589 of your closest friends and hoop heads that have already pushed that subscribe button. So join the crew, all the breadheads. Let's do it, Mike. How about the little Big East overview here? A little bit of a recap first. 4th out of 31 in Ken Palm Strength of Conference as the old linkage there. The Linkovich-Chomovsky is there for the Fantrax league there. So go check the live chat for that. 4th out of 31, Ken Palm Strength of Conference. And we know the Johnnies ran away with it, claiming their first Big East regular season title since I was a wee lad. I was less than 10 years old the last time St. John's won a regular season title. 1992, first outright. I was 2 in 1985, Mike. It's been a while. Way before that song came out, for sure.
Classic.
But then the Johnnies also ran away with the Big East Conference tournament. And when I say ran away with, I mean dog walked everyone by at least 16 points or more. So from that perspective, it was pretty one-sided. But I mentioned in the cold open, this was a 5-bid league. St. John's getting that 2 seed, but bounced at the second round by Arkansas. Marquette, the Fighting Shaka Smarts, 7 seed, but lost to New Mexico in the opening round. UConn, an 8 seed for UConn, felt wrong. And OU didn't like it, seeing them on the other side of that 9. They beat OU.
Florida didn't either.
But Florida almost took it across the chin, but on their way to that natty, beat UConn by 2. 9th seed Creighton crushed Louisville before exiting to Final Four member Auburn. We're seeing a theme there. And then 11th seed Xavier won the play-in game over Texas before bowing out to Illinois. Mike, your thoughts on the Big East before we get to the world-famous tiers?
Yeah, I mean, it's big-time hoops, my man. So only once since 2003 has this conference finished below 5th on the old KenPom Strength of Conference metrics, which we'd love to use on all of our previews. I'm glad to see the committee got it right last year, because if you finish 4th in the KenPom Strength of Conference, you should at least get 4 or 5 teams in. So they got 5 in. The previous year we were yapping because they finished second, one of the best finishes in the Big East, and they only got 3 teams in. They basically left Seton Hall and St. John's out to dry. But man, one thing that we're going to talk about is, are we going to see a shift here? We're going to see a shift where it's, been kind of a wide open league as of 3-4 years ago, but first UConn, back-to-back natties. Right now, St. John's creeping up there as dominant forces. Could be a little top-heavy, man, here in this Big East, so we'll chat about it as we go through the tiers.
I like how you conveniently left out one team that I know you like to write far on your bracket down those lines here. That's also going to be in our high tier. But we're going to get to that. That's called a tease, ladies and gents, in the biz. We got 3 teams in the top tier. Who do you think the third one will be? Let us know before we get there. But, Mike, we must start with the low tier first, the foundation of the conference, if you will. We have some commenters that like to say these are the teams that aren't any good. We like to put a little bit more positive spin on it, the foundation of the league. And as we flow up our tier screen here, you're going to see what I mean by the foundation right there along the bottom in our low tier. 4 teams, Mike. As you can see, I'm going to start with Seton Hall, 2-18 last season. Shaheen Holloway, man, struggle busing it in Newark for a lot of reasons, man, that don't necessarily have a lot to do with basketball. After a great run in the first 2 years, things kind of came crashing down as the roster just didn't have it. And unfortunately, it feels with what they have right now that trend will continue. It's going to be hard to generate offense, Mike, with the lack of floor spacing, size. And basically, this is one of those that nobody's going to be scared of Seton Hall when they get off the bus, just from a talent perspective. And that's tough. Merrimack transfer Adam Clark's going to try to, shift that perspective. He did average almost 20 points a game along with 6 dimes. So we can see if he can take that step up in competition and transfer some of those numbers over. Pacific transfer Elijah Fisher. It's Clark and Fisher probably soaking up all the usage for them. From a DFS perspective, those are guys that you're probably going to have to pay up for a little bit, and paying up for Seton Hall Pirates. Maybe that's not the best strategy. Who knows? But, we'll probably do it here and there. What do you got to do, Mike? We try to get guys on campus that will stay for longer than a year, that you can sort of develop young players. Trey Parker transferring in from NC State. That's what Coach Holloway is going to try to do and build some momentum. But, man, it just feels like it's going to be another long one here. Let's move on to Butler. It's not like it's all roses and sunshine over there. 6-14 in the conference last season. And it sort of feels like that honeymoon period for Thad Matta is over. Yeah, and the new roster, man, only 1 significant contributor's back. You got Finley Bizjack. He had a pretty solid year, 10 points, shot 43% from 3. But what's around him, it's basically a mix of transfers and incoming freshmen. Of those transfers, I like Michael Ajayi coming over from Gonzaga. I think he obviously has the biggest upside of all these guys coming in, as Radley chiming in here. We'll see, man. Like, he obviously didn't get a lot of playing time there in a busy front court in Gonzaga. But, hey, I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity here at Butler. So we'll see if he can make the most of it. And with Ajayi, Mike, it's like one of those guys that when you transfer within the conference like that, you almost feel like you don't have to get your bearings about you. Like, within your own team. But once conference play rolls around, there's not any new buildings for him. It's not like there's any environments that he'll have to get used to. So It's an interesting call there by Riley to plant the flag there and sort of say he's going to take that step.
Yeah. So we also got Jalen Jackson coming in. I don't know, man. I loved him in the Horizon League coming over from PFW. It's going to be tough for him. Yame Butler's coming in from Drexel. He's a nice scorer. But these guys are going to have to make the jump from the mids, and this transition, I mean, it's not going to be easy, but it's really going to determine the ceiling of this program. I just don't think that ceiling is going to be very high. So just on both ends of the floor, going to be tough to be competitive nightly. You just mentioned a second ago, a guy to develop, Trey Parker for Seton Hall, man. Look out for this kid, Stink Robinson, top 100 recruit. See if he can make some things happen for him. Love the name. Love the nickname there. We'll move on. Xavier here, man. Sean Miller, he knocked out our horns, and then he was like, I'll go ahead and just take that job. So the Xavier job obviously opened up. Richard Pitino brought in to continue this momentum that Miller built, and it's going to be a brand new roster. And I'm kind of struggling to see the vision. Very few impact transfers. Taking a shot on a bunch of dudes from the mids. Like, you look at the crown jewel of the transfer class, Evansville wing Gabriel Posado. He averaged 15 points per game, but he tore his meniscus a little over a month ago, and he's going to miss some time. So he was already going to have to make a big jump in competition. Now it's going to slow his process down. Who do I trust the most? Maybe FAU transfer forward Trey Carroll. He had a nice year for them. Solid player, a lot of experience, Jay. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not in love with this first roster here for Coach Pitino.
It's another instance of space on the floor a little bit. Like, I don't know. It's a couple of teams in this tier that is just going to have an issue with that. Who's going to score the basketball? Roddy Anderson, is he going to take some of that transferring in? Isaiah Walker coming in from Belmont, averaged 11 points for them last year. Like, you hope somebody can step up there. If you're the Musketeers, like, I do want to ask, how many times has a coach knocked a team out of the tournament and then immediately taken that same job? Like, you could probably count it on a hand here. How about let's move on to Nova here. Johnny K saying that Nova and Xavier will be back to mid-plus before too long, a couple seasons maybe, man. Nova, after a weird exit from Maryland, Kevin Willard now sort of setting his sights on restoring that program back to relevance after can we just call it a tough era? Like,
we'll just call it that.
we'll call it tough. We'll call it, Darren in the chat might call it, really bad. I'll say tough era for Kyle Neptune, man. What's Coach Willard got to do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have him down here in the low tier because this roster is kind of meh. But I'm in agreement with the chat. Like, he's too good of a coach. Like, he's going to get some talent. And I mean, you got a Caden Lewis to come in who, he's going to be able to get some buckets. Tyler Perkins is back, but he's more of like an off-ball shooter. Dude, like, this is going to be kind of rough. Like, Duke Brennan's coming in from Grand Canyon. He's kind of an underrated big. Career offensive rating, 125 plus in Tier A games. So I like that. Definitely like that. That's one thing you look at. When you look at these mid-major transfers, it's like, well, okay. But how do these guys play when they play competition they're going to play in the Big East, which is Tier A and B? So that's basically every single game in these Power 5 conferences, and he's been pretty good. So can he be a primary go-to guy? I don't know. That's kind of a lot to ask. And I know there's a lot of buzz with Matthew Hodge here, the redshirt freshman forward. Our guy it feels like a decade ago we were talking about Long Beach transfer point guard Devin Askew suiting up for the Longhorns under Chris Beard, man. But another injury for him, offseason knee injury. And I don't know why Torvik thinks this is going to be like a top 60 team on both ends of the floor. I would be absolutely shocked if they were. But it's Kevin Willard. We'll see if he can make the most out of what doesn't look like a lot in this first year for him.
I feel like Devin Askew and Chad Baker Mazzara are just like competing to see who can stay on in college the longest.
100%.
Like, it's crazy. Askew's played for like 17 teams, it feels like, man. Like, we got to remember he reclassified when he was so young.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so he's probably only like 21, and he's been around for 8, 7, however many years. It's crazy, man. But shout out. We'll see if Askew can get it done for Nova down there in the low tier, along with the Musketeers, Butler, and Seton Hall. Kind of weird to see some name brand names down there in the low tier, but that's the ebbs and flows of the game right now. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons if you have not already done so. Hop in that live chat with Darren. Keeping it rolling. Johnny K saying not a fan of Willard, but he's going to have the Cats back ASAP. He's a good coach, man. Mike, you mentioned he's a good coach. And there's a lot of good coaches in this conference, including the one that we're going to talk about first in the mid-tier here, Mike, for the Blue Demons of DePaul. 4-16 in the conference last year, but Holtman can coach too, man. Like, we were really high on this hire. He can coach, especially offense. So after
he did really well in his first year, man.
Yeah, man. Went from 3-29 and 304th in KenPom. They managed a respectable bounce back, 14-20, finishing 122nd in KenPom. Now, the question is, Mike, in this tough conference, can they build on that momentum?
Yeah, Johnny Cage up the comeback trail. DePaul in the mid over Xavier and Villanova. Like, what are we doing here? This
what a time.
Kind of weird. We would have said that 2-3 years ago. But yeah, we love Chris Holtman and his offense. Things just kind of didn't work out at Ohio State, but he'll get some talent. And he did that last year. You got Layden Blocker over from Arkansas. He had a decent season, nearly double digits, 3 assists per game. TJ Gunn was another highly recruited player that went to Indiana and transferred in last year. He averaged 13 points per game. They're both back. And then center NJ Benson, 9 points, 6 boards, almost a block and a half per game. He's kind of like a key third piece for them, and he's showing some promise as he continues to develop. All these guys have a full year of Big East play under their belts, and they have obviously showing promise on both ends of the floor to make us, like their floor. But man, like, you got this Tulane transfer, Caleb Banks. I think he's kind of the reason why they're in this tier. I mean, as much as I love Blocker, Gunn, and Benson, he was just awesome last year for Tulane. He had 120 offensive rating, a 5% shot blocking rate, and shot 34% from 3 on solid volume. Like, he's a great pairing with Benson. Gunn can stretch the floor. Blocker as a downhill creator. Like, this is a really, really nice. And do we expect anything less from Chris Holtman? Like, he knows how to build an offensive team. So you also got the Colorado transfer, man, RJ Smith. He shot 39% from 3. So just great additions here. And yeah, are there questions about depth? Sure. I don't know, man. We have to also kind of get away from like DePaul's just bad, right? Like, it's kind of hard sticking them in this mid tier because we're asking them to win 10 games, 9-10 games to get into this mid tier. And that's just not what we've seen. But you look at the low tier here, man, and you look at the roster here that Chris Holtman has and just kind of the progress they made in year 1. And I like it, man. They got Georgetown over here. Just a major improvement, too, for Coach Ed Cooley in year 2, but still not the standard for this program, right? Fortunately, the superstar Thomas Sorber, he's in the NBA. So is experience with Micah Peavy. I still like what this team can be from like a floor perspective in this conference. You have Malik Mack coming back. He should be a lot more comfortable at the point guard position after coming in from Harvard. He shot it well from deep last year, but shot less than 40% from the field. So he's going to have to clean that up. And then we have to love these 2 veterans that they brought in to play with them. KJ Lewis, man, like, this guy is a monster 2-way player. So he kind of reminds me of the Micah Peavy ad from last year. And then we have Langston Love. This guy could ever stay healthy. He's an absolute
stay on the floor,
like,
man.
He's going to never stay on the floor, man. So, yeah, this is a nice little group that they have. What are your thoughts here, Jay?
Well, they're going to have to improve their outside shooting. That's the thing that sticks out to me the most. I would even say it's a glaring weakness on this roster. Nobody outside of Max shot above 35% with any sort of volume at all. So what do? UConn transfer forward Isaiah Abraham could help solve that problem, as well as some of that front court sort of shortcomings that we see there. We didn't see him much, but there's upside there. And then you got returners Caleb Williams and Julius Halafanua, who will also factor heavily in the backcourt.
Nice.
It's just tough. Yeah, easy for me to say there tonight. But, man, I mean, it's the front court production overall that worries me, that keeps that ceiling, I think, right here in the mid-tier. 8-9 wins sort of feels right for me. I don't know who's going to shoot the ball from the outside. I do think that they're strong defensively again, which will keep them in the mid-tier. So, shout out to Ed Cooley and doing what he's doing up there. When he got there, our memory should not be very short about that, man. It's not like he walked into anything at all. He's been making chicken salad out of chicken shit, and he's done a very nice job of it. So shout out to him for doing so. Providence, friend of the show, Kim English, Mike, who sort of backfilled for Cooley, right? The Friars are coming off a forgettable season, lots of injuries, unfortunately. We profiled their transfer class this offseason, and we think, Mike, that they get the train back on the tracks.
Yeah, I absolutely think they get the train back on the tracks. Like, look, it's definitely got a floor here. So I'm not gonna like say this with 100% confidence, but I give a pass to these guys that they got out of Florida State, because that was just a mess, man. Like, everyone was playing 18 minutes. Like, it was just a complete mess here. So Daquan Davis comes in. I think he's going to be a really solid player, still a young player. I love Jason Edwards' offensive game. I mean, it's a guy that can absolutely stretch the floor. You love volume shooters that have efficiency, especially from three. So he's definitely going to give them a scoring boost. And then Jalen Sellers, man, we can't forget, he was really good in 24-25. Obviously battled injuries last year coming in from UCF, but that's a solid trio there. So are there question marks about Davis and his primary playmaking ability? Absolutely, man. And then, we know Edwards is going to light it up from the outside and draw a lot of attention. So, Sellers carrying this 111 O rating in the Big 12 with a 10% turnover rate. Like, you absolutely love that. So I think they can take some pressure off. And I don't necessarily think that Daquan Davis is in line to maybe even start, but he's going to be a key piece to them, man. So where you also like is these young forwards that are back. Ryan Mila, Osman Erhinwumse is also back. They both had really solid freshman years. Mila has a lot of tools to work with. We loved him in DFS when he was super cheap. And look, they also brought in Duncan Powell from Georgia Tech. And, he's kind of an X factor for them. He's played really well in the ACC. So coming over now to the Big East. And he's like a low usage floor spacing big, which you absolutely love. I just see them as like this 9-10 win type of roster in the Big East. So we'll see what they can do, man. They're one of the more of the wild cards in this conference. And you got Marquette, which, look, man, like Shaka Smart, he continues to shock us all because he doesn't use the transfer portal. I mean, basically, this entire roster is back, and he just recruits freshmen. But I think life's going to be tough. Like, Cam Jones gone, Mitchell's gone, Joplin's gone. Yeah, Chase Ross is the lone major contributor that's back, but asking him to carry the load offensively is going to be pretty tough. He's a dynamic defender, but he's going to have to become a better facilitator. That volume is probably going to hurt some of his efficiency. We'll see if he's got some help around him, and we don't really know because, we saw Ben Golden. He's just kind of a floor spacing big, but he struggled on the glass and to protect the rim. You got a bunch of young guys coming back, and one of these guys typically pops for Coach Smart, man. You got Royce Parham. He's really got all the tools to be that breakout player. Sean Jones and Zayd Lowry, can step up. They can probably become bigger contributors in this backcourt. So we'll see if they strike gold on one of these guys getting more playing time or one of these four-star freshmen that they have coming in. So Adrian Stevens, could be one of those guys that kind of pops out of nowhere. So would it be a shock to me if Shaka Smart has to stay near the top? It would not. Now, preseason, can you say with any type of confidence that this roster on paper a month away from the season starting, that they're going to be really good? No. So, yeah, man, I don't know. This is just like the Shaka thing, right?
Yeah, you look at it and you're like, yeah, I mean, these guys obviously love him, and it's one of the reasons why he's able to maintain rosters in this day and age. Like, it's remarkable, and it speaks to the type of man that Shaka Smart is and how he's viewed by these basketball players. It doesn't always translate to the big wins, and that's sort of why that, again, in this mid-tier right now, I don't know. That's tough. It's tough to see them. Again, 13 feels like a lot for this roster. We'll see if we can get it. Sometimes he does give those vibes, man. I get it for sure. Hey, let's hit the live chat, Mike. It's been active all night. Let's hit it up before we get to the old high so high tier. I know we got some people jumping in. Is Love going to start? Cam asking, what are your thoughts, Mike? I feel like that's probably a yes, right?
Yeah, I believe he's going to slot in if he can stay healthy and start probably as that third guard.
And then Johnny asking about Floyd Jr. in his 70th year of eligibility. I believe he's still over there on campus.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
John jumping in the live chat with the hottest of hot takes on Big East night, man.
Hey,
Give me some of what he's sipping.
I like it, man. Winning record in the Big East.
There we go, baby.
That's what's the
It's
guy?
doable. It's doable. That's
It
probably
is
the
doable.
ceiling. One game over.
Yeah, but that's what we're taking into consideration there when we put them in the mid, because I think that the floor will keep them around, and they'll just hang around and beat some people, and then we're like, damn, DePaul beat who? And then before you know it, they've got 8-9 flirting with 8-9 wins, and there's a couple of weeks left, and you're like, they could get there, you know?
Yeah.
Love it, John. Thanks for hopping in, man. We definitely appreciate that. Good to see you, Chris D. What it do? Hook 'em for this is obviously Big East night, but yeah, this is the Mike and I don't hide our allegiances, but we take it seriously around here for sure. And Shaka Smart, I did the old hands on the head when he was losing to the 15 seed. I've got that one as a meme that I use frequently in our group chats, and love Shaka, but we got him in the low tier right now. Marquette, Providence, Georgetown, and DePaul, a very deep mid-tier. Saw Kaylin hopping in there. Good to see you, Kaylin, asking.
Yeah, what's up, Kaylin?
Nova in the low. That's right, right there. Put Nova in the low and put it right into your veins, my friend. Put it right into your veins. Good to see you, Kaylin. Good to see everybody. John saying he went to high school with Finley Bizjack, and then good to see him dominating now. Shout out to John, man. Boy, good stuff, man. We got ball knowers. We got people that are ball adjacent or all the time. Like, we love it. We got the best live chat in the freaking world, my man. Like the liveliest live chat in all of college hoops. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you can hop in there. And yes, Johnny, it is time for the high so high tier. Let's get to it, Mike. If you can do math, and we already got the 3 up there, so no T's on that. I was going to say, that there's 3. You knew St. John's in Connecticut was going to be up there, and of course, our friends in the live chat gave it away earlier. Said Creighton's going to be pretty good. They're up there too, with the Giannis with their Red Storm. I'm going to start off with St. John's, Mike. 18-2 in the conference last season. Didn't take Coach long to put them in the championship circle in the Big East and on the map nationally. Coach Rick Pitino doing what Coach Pitino does. I mean, it's hard to imagine them finishing anywhere but in the top 3 of this conference. Obviously, this year it's going to look a little bit different. Zubi Ejiofor will be back. He's gonna make an appearance in our top 20 countdown coming up on X over there at One and Done CBB. Make sure you're following. But outside from that, man, there's a lot of new faces in there. Certainly, talent brought in to play with Zubi, and I'd argue, Mike, it's the best portal class in the entire country. That's my flag plant for the night. Best portal class in the country for the Red Storm. Ian Jackson from UNC, Isaiah Sellers from Stanford, Josan Sanin coming in from ASU, Dylan Darling from Idaho State. Then that's just the front court. Bryce Hopkins from Providence. Yes, that's Bryce Hopkins. And then Dylan Mitchell, another player who's been around for what feels like a decade and made his way through Central Texas and has bounced around, and he's going to try to make it work for Coach Petit. He's made for some really solid coaches, hasn't he?
He has.
2 major questions, though, man. 2 major questions looming for the ceiling nationally, in my opinion. Because no doubt, I don't think it's going out on a limb to say that they're the team to beat in the Big East right now. But, number 1, who's running the point? Okay? Can Ian Jackson make that transition? Can Dylan Darling be effective coming in from the Big Sky? Idaho State, I mentioned earlier. Like that. This is tough. This is a team that has national championship aspirations, and is the guy from Idaho State, Double D, Dylan Darling, going to be your darling to run your backcourt? I don't know, man. Number 2, I mentioned him earlier. How do you use Dylan Mitchell? Hopkins and Ejiofor are going to start, right? So outside shooting and spacing would suffer tremendously with all 3 on the floor. Which, if you remember, Mike, that was sort of that Achilles heel last year. Mm-hmm. So there are some gambles that the winningest active head coach will have to take. Some decisions to be made here, but I trust he will do just fine. Johnny K saying Elite 8 or a bust. Very reasonable expectations for St. John's there, and Johnny K. How about some expectations for UConn? Mike, 14-6 in the conference last year. we talked about it in the offseason last year that they had nowhere near the ceiling.
No, nowhere.
And we knew. I
Yeah.
didn't think that they deserved an 8 seed.
No.
Um,
No.
At all. But you get what you get and you don't pitch a fit. And now you got Dan Hurley, who's let's give Dan Hurley a chip on his shoulder to be able to talk about. I mean, not only that though, but the move this offseason that he made, I think it puts this roster back in a serious conversation around the country.
Yeah, I mean that was one of our takes last year, was that there was no ceiling, it felt like, for UConn. Now they almost beat Florida. They were, a minute away from down the stretch pulling that off, but I just didn't love the profile of that team, man. As much as we love Tassan Diarra, like, he was probably better suited as a sixth man. But this year, man, they got a big point guard that can play, make, and defend in Silas DeMary, who's coming over from Georgia, and he's kind of similar to Tristan Newton. So kind of returning to those roots that he won back-to-back national championships. Solo Ball took a very nice leap, during his sophomore year, and I think he's a nice complement to DeMary. So that's a pretty tough backcourt. Then you got the old man Caravan still around, experience, leadership, all that stuff that they're going to say every time we watch a UConn game. Plus that three ball. We're gonna get to see Terrace Reed get unleashed here, and at times he was basically their best offensive weapon and really opened up the offense. Hurley was basically like, let's scrap any defense here because it's just a struggle to play any type of defense. Let's just try to be the best offense we can. And this guy's going to get you buckets inside. So I don't think these guys are going to be great defensively. Terrace Reed isn't known for being a big time defender. Now he can block some shots for you. This has the makings of a juggernaut offense, man. 5-star Braylon Mullins. I like this addition of Malachi Smith, the transfer from Dayton at the guard position, and then I think Riley mentioned it earlier, man. Like Jalen Stewart being an X factor. Him and Jaden Ross, we've just kind of been waiting for these guys to take the next step. Didn't really happen last year. They've got talent. They've got depth on this team. It's a pretty exciting team on the offensive end. And then kind of similar is Creighton, 15-5 last year. And, we've come to basically expect Coach Greg McDermott, man, to win 25 games, get tourney wins. Well, we thought last year's team was really good. It wasn't the Baylor Shireman teams, right? The Sweet 16, Elite 8 teams. And then now you lose Kalkbrenner, who was there for forever, Ashworth, O'Neal. So you lose your big three there, but you're bringing in a bunch of talented transfers, man. You got Owen Freeman, Josh Diggs, coming in from Iowa, Nick Graves from Charlotte, Blake Harper from Howard. So it looks really nice on paper. I have no doubt that they're going to be, pretty close to an elite type of offense in this conference, because that's just what McDermott teams do. When you have a ton of shooting, scoring options, and then you bring back Jackson McAndrew, Fedor Zugic, Ty Davis look good in spurts. Two biggest concerns with me, Jay, the health of Owen Freeman, because it was stated that he's still about a month away from being cleared from contact. So it's going to be tough. Ryan Kalkbrenner erased everything at the rim. He could stretch the floor on offense. He was a load down low, could rack up fouls on opposing bigs. You're not going to have that guy, and expecting Owen Freeman to be that guy that's asking a lot. And there's just no way, even though Owen Freeman is a really, really nice player. So to me, man, they're going to have a juggernaut offense, kind of like UConn. They profile similarly to them. Should be an epic battle for these three teams, man, because St. John's going to be really tough on defense. We have questions on St. John's, trying to stick Ian Jackson at point. You know what I mean? Okay, that's all kinds of shooting. And then, what do you do with that roster? We've talked about it ad nauseum all offseason. It's kind of like the Kentucky point guard situation last year. We're just going to talk about St. John's and, how do you put the best five together? I think Patino was actually on Twitter the other day saying he can't figure out how to put the best five on the floor because if he goes – and he puts the three bigs out there, he's going to be able to get stops, but can't get anything going offensively. And he puts the three guards out there, he doesn't have enough defense. So he'll figure it out, obviously. But they got a lot more outside shooting on St. John's. But yeah, these three teams are going to battle it out at the top. But like you said earlier, Jay, I think it's going to be St. John's kind of with the edge every single night.
Sort of feels that way, doesn't it? I don't know if they'll win as many games exactly as they did in the conference last year, but it does sort of feel like that it's theirs to lose. Darren letting us know that there's a big 7-foot Serbian at Creighton. Yes, Alexa Dimitrijevic, freshman, 220 pounds there. He is 7 feet tall, and you know what they say about that, Mike. You can't teach that. Shout out to him, making the way over from Serbia to the Blue Jays. Of course, Darren. and listen, I'm gonna get to the live chat, and there's some good questions in here that we want to get to before we close out the show, Mike. Darren does not have any reason to be as funny as he is to put solo ball sounds like he would average 0 assists. That's funny. It shouldn't be. I laughed when I read it. I don't know if you could see, but solo ball 0. That's very good, my friend. This is not just, it's a bunch of ball knowers, the liveliest live chat. It's so good. I didn't want that to go overlooked. Good stuff there, Darren. All right, let's get to the real meat and potatoes here. John asked a question before we get out of here. That's a good
question.
3-bid Big East. Obviously, we have our 3 tiers there in the top. Dare I say DePaul? That's a bid?
Nah.
What do you think? Well, but seriously, where do you think that this one will end up? Obviously, if they're a top 4 conference in the country again. Okay, so you're comfortable with 4.
Yeah, I don't see getting 5 in. Like, it's okay. There's just not that. There's 3 elite teams, and then there's a bunch of teams with question marks. DePaul, Georgetown, Providence, like Marquette. You can't say for sure that any of those teams are going to be consistently good night in and night out, but they definitely have higher floors than some of the teams we'd have down there in the low tier. So I think a 4-bid Big East is probably what we're staring at this year.
It feels about right. Let us know how many teams you think they'll get in the live chat. If you're watching later on, then make sure that you let us know in the comments. We want to hear from you, man. Especially if you stuck around the full almost 40 minutes here. Audio issues to start. You know what we did right there? Boom, just punched right through them. Just made our way through them. No issues. All good things right here on One and Done. I like Johnny K planting his flag, saying the 5. Shout out to you, Johnny K, for always planting your flag and for hanging out with us here in the live chat. And we did recognize and appreciate the fact that Johnny K, right on time tonight. Shout out, showing up for the show, joining Darren.
I want to shout out Cam real quick, Jay, before we head out, man. Like Iowa West, weak defense incoming for Creighton. They're not going to have the defensive chops that they've had. Jemiah Neal is a really good, strong defender. You also had Ryan Kalkbrenner erasing everything at the rim. They're not going to have that this year, man. So they got to be really good offensively, which I think they can be.
The godfather of Iowa bowling there, Cam, letting us know about Iowa of the West there. Before we get out, we'll take this one more
Zuby
question here. It's kind of, I don't want to say, spoiler alert, but it does sort of feel like it's Zuby's to lose, right?
Yeah, it really does feel like Zuby's to lose. Like, I don't know. Like, he's going to put up monster numbers. Like, there's just not that other guy out there that's, a Caravan is not going to win it. And Silas DeMary is kind of a, but even with Ball there, like no guys are going to put up the numbers that Zuby Ejiofor is going to do. It's just a different look to the Big East this year, man.
Yeah, but the talent around him is so impressive that it's just going to allow him. I mean, depth.
The outside shooting around him is going to be, it depends on if they play the right lineups, my man.
And that's something, obviously, that we'll have to pay attention to for sure. Breaking it down one more time before we get out of here. St. John's, UConn, and Creighton in that high tier. In the old mid tier, we had DePaul, Georgetown, Providence, and the Fighting Shaka Smarts of Marquette. And then down there in the low tier, Seton Hall, Butler, Xavier, and Villanova. It feels weird to see some of those name brand logos down there in the bottom tier, but they'll be clawing out here real soon. We feel like, we'll be playing Zuby. I think Zuby will reach like 11K at some point on DFS. We're gonna have conversations about just flipping a coin with Zuby Ejiofor quite a few times, I feel like, in this upcoming season, Mike. But hopefully everybody push that button and the notification bell so they know when we go live for our DFS shows that'll be coming up here once the season gets going. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Darren, Johnny K, Cam, John, Snake's Eyes, Chris D hopping in there as well. Good to see Chris D. Who did I miss? Kaylin, right in the veins, my friend. Good to see you in the live chat. Riley, of course, was hanging out with us earlier as well. Always good to see everybody. all the breadheads. We definitely appreciate all of you. You know who else I appreciate, Mike? I appreciate our guy Nate pushing the buttons tonight. At Napesy Hustle over there on X. Give him a follow. Give another follow to at Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets. Our guy Eric the Blue getting you the studio and the graphics and everything we need to make this thing purr along. Purr, right there. That was a little close to purr. What happened to that boy? Anyways, shout out to Eric and Nate behind the scenes. Shout out to this man right here, El Capitan himself. He's the captain of the one and done ship. He does the ship, I do the train. At MC Allen 34 over there. Give him a follow. You won't be disappointed. The link to our Fantrax Best Ball League is right there on your viewing device. It'll also be in the live chat. We'll tweet it out too, and we got a prize coming for the winner. Well, we've got some pride on the line here. Some one and done pride, Sometimes we've given away some cool stuff in our contests in the past, but something that we haven't given away before, a little bit of a tease. You're going to want to be around for that one when we bring that around. So hop in there and hop over everywhere you can with one and done college basketball. We definitely appreciate it. So show us some love, show yourself some love, take care of everybody around you, take care of yourself. And we'll see you around. My name is JAYHEINRICH. Come again. See you tomorrow. Peace.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.